Have you ever wondered why it seems like nobody lives in Tasmania, Australia's big island state? While it's not actually empty, Tasmania's quiet charm and sparse population often leave people curious. What makes this beautiful island so different from bustling mainland cities? From its smaller population and isolated location to economic factors and media portrayal, we'll uncover the surprising reasons behind this mystery. Stay tuned as we clear up the misconceptions and reveal the true story of Tasmania. Smaller population. Tasmania, an island state of Australia, has fewer people living on it compared to many places on the mainland. This is one of the main reasons it might seem like almost nobody lives there. Let's talk about what this really means. When we say Tasmania has a smaller population, we mean that not as many people choose to live there. Tasmania has about 541,000 people. Now, if we think about a big city on the mainland like Sydney, it has more than 5 million people. That's a lot more, isn't it? So, why does Tasmania have fewer people? There are a few reasons. First, Tasmania is an island, which means it is surrounded by water. This makes it a bit harder to get to and from other places, like the bigger parts of Australia. Long ago, it was even harder to travel there because the boats were slower and not as many people went back and forth. This made fewer people think about moving there. Also, Tasmania is known for its beautiful nature and lots of wild open spaces. While this is great for animals and plants, it means there are fewer big towns and fewer jobs that lots of people usually like, such as those in big factories or offices. Most of the jobs in Tasmania are related to farming, fishing, or taking care of forests, which don't need lots of people. Because Tasmania is quieter and has fewer big cities, it's not the first place people think of when they want to move to a bustling, busy area with lots of jobs and things to do. However, for those who love nature and a peaceful place to live, it's perfect. In the end, Tasmania's smaller population helps keep it a special place with less crowding and more room to enjoy its beautiful landscapes. While it might seem like nobody lives there compared to much bigger cities, the people who do live there have a strong community and enjoy a unique and beautiful environment. Geographical isolation. Continuing from the point about Tasmania's smaller population, another reason it might seem like nobody lives there is because of its geographical isolation. Tasmania is not attached to the bigger part of Australia. Instead, it's separated by a wide stretch of water called the Bass Strait. Being an island means Tasmania is surrounded by water, which makes it a bit harder for people and goods to come and go compared to places that you can just drive to easily on a road. Long ago, this water barrier made it even more challenging. Boats were the only way to reach Tasmania from the mainland, and they weren't as fast or frequent as they are today. This isolation made fewer people think about moving to Tasmania because it felt a bit cut off from the rest of the country. This separation also affects how businesses work. For businesses, transporting goods across the sea can be more expensive and take longer than just sending them by truck across land. Because of these extra costs and time, some businesses decide it's easier and cheaper to set up shop closer to where most people live and work, which is on the mainland, not in Tasmania. For people living in Tasmania, this separation means there are fewer big stores, fewer factories, and generally fewer job opportunities that you might find in a bigger city on the mainland. It also means that things like going to big concerts, big sports events, or even having lots of different shops to choose from aren't as common in Tasmania. But being an island also has its benefits. Tasmania has lots of beautiful untouched places that haven't been built over because it's not as crowded. The beaches, forests, and mountains are pretty special because they're not filled with buildings or pollution. So, while Tasmania's geographical isolation might make it seem less appealing for those wanting big city life, it also keeps the island peaceful and pristine, making it a wonderful place for those who enjoy nature and a quieter way of life. Economic factors. Moving on from how Tasmania's isolation affects its population, another reason it might seem like nobody lives there is because of its economic factors. The types of jobs and businesses in Tasmania are different from those in bigger places in Australia. Tasmania's economy has been traditionally based on activities like farming, forestry, and mining. These are types of work that involve natural resources, things that come from the earth and nature. Because these jobs often take place in large open spaces and don't require lots of people to be in one place, they don't attract big populations. Unlike big cities, which have lots of different industries and businesses, Tasmania doesn't have as many big factories or corporate offices. Big factories and offices usually offer a lot of jobs which attract people to live nearby. In Tasmania, the jobs are more spread out and often in more remote areas, which means people don't gather in large numbers like they do in cities. This situation influences who decides to live in Tasmania. People who like city life, with lots of shopping, entertainment, and job opportunities in offices or technology, might not move to Tasmania because it offers a different kind of lifestyle. The jobs in Tasmania are more about working outdoors or in small communities, which is perfect for some people, but not for everyone. Also, because it's not a big urban center, Tasmania doesn't have the same amount of money flowing into it, like places such as Sydney or Melbourne. This means there's less money for things like new buildings, roads, or other big projects that can make a place look busy and lived in. However, for those who enjoy being close to nature and prefer a quieter, less crowded place to live, Tasmania is ideal. It offers a beautiful environment and a lifestyle that's closer to nature, with the ocean, forests, and mountains all around. It's perfect for people who like outdoor activities like hiking, fishing, or just enjoying the quiet of nature. So, Tasmania's economic structure, focused mainly on natural resources and outdoor jobs, plays a big role in keeping its population smaller and more spread out. Natural environment. Building on the idea of Tasmania's economic structure and how it affects where people live, another reason it might seem like nobody lives there is because of its natural environment. Much of Tasmania is covered in rugged terrain and protected areas like national parks and World Heritage Sites. These areas are very important because they help preserve the environment and wildlife. Since a large part of Tasmania is made up of these protected natural areas, there isn't a lot of room for building big cities or industries. National parks and World Heritage Sites are places meant to be kept safe from too much building or change. They are home to many plants and animals that might not survive if their habitats were disturbed by too much construction or too many people moving in. This means that the places where people can build homes or businesses in Tasmania are limited. Most of the island is meant to stay wild and natural. This protects the beauty and health of the environment, but also means there are fewer places for lots of people to live close together. The large areas of untouched nature in Tasmania also mean that the island attracts people who love the outdoors. For these people, the quiet, the space, and the chance to be close to nature are more important than living in a crowded place with lots of buildings and traffic. They might work in jobs like guiding tours in the parks, researching wildlife, or managing forest resources. This focus on preserving nature also makes Tasmania a special place for tourists who want to see the beautiful landscapes and unique wildlife that you can't find just anywhere. Tourism is a big part of the island's economy, and it relies on keeping the environment beautiful and healthy. In summary, much of Tasmania's land being used for conservation and protection of natural resources limits urban development and population growth. This makes Tasmania appear less populated, but also helps maintain its identity as a place of stunning natural beauty and a haven for wildlife and outdoor enthusiasts. Cultural representation. Adding to what we've discussed about Tasmania's unique environment and limited urban development, the final reason it might seem like nobody lives there is how it's shown in media and popular culture. Tasmania is often less talked about and less visible compared to other parts of Australia, like the big cities on the mainland. When people think of Australia, they often think of places like Sydney with its famous opera house, or Melbourne with its large sports events and shopping. These places get a lot of attention in TV shows, movies, and news, which makes people more aware of them. They see these cities as bustling, lively places full of people and exciting activities. On the other hand, Tasmania doesn't often make headlines or appear in popular movies or TV shows. Because it isn't featured as much, many people might not know as much about what it's like to live there, or how many people actually live there. This can make it seem like Tasmania is less important or interesting, which isn't true. It's just less advertised. Additionally, Tasmania's portrayal when it is mentioned in media can sometimes focus more on its natural beauty and quiet, rather than its communities and the people who live there. This can lead others to think of it more as a vacation spot, rather than a place where people live and work every day. However, for those who do know Tasmania well or who live there, it's known as a place with a strong sense of community. People in Tasmania often know each other well, and they have a tight-knit community feeling that you might not find in bigger cities. They value being part of a smaller community where people look out for each other and share a close connection to their beautiful surroundings. In summary, the way Tasmania is represented, or often not represented, in media plays a big role in creating the impression that nobody lives there. This underrepresentation can overshadow the vibrant community life and the diverse experiences of the people who do call Tasmania home. So this was all about today's video. Do let us know your thoughts in comments. Please subscribe to Travel the World. Thank you for watching.